This is Caitlin, your host of the No Sleep for Dramas podcast, where we get no sleep and survive on coffee to watch just one more episode at night. It is time. I feel like I've become known to be kind of like the crime drama expert, at least among the drama trio. Even though I've told many, many times that this podcast is going to be like crime drama focused, for some reason, I feel like I'm not being successful with that, at least within 2025. I have talked about my favorite Chinese dramas overall of every genre on this podcast, but I've always wanted to do a country specific crime drama episode and have it be a running series where I periodically come in and just talk about crime dramas, some of my favorite crime dramas of certain countries. And the other week I realized I've had this idea in my head for a while and I have never done it, even though it's been on my list to do. So today we are going to be kicking off a new series on the podcast. I don't know how frequently I'm going to be putting this on the podcast, but it'll be here and there. Maybe I'll do some guest stuff with it too. And I figured, like, why not? I have so many crime dramas I love from all the countries, and there's always new ones coming out, and there's always stuff that I'm checking out. I might as well start somewhere. Might as well start with one country. I'm going to be talking about some of my all-time favorite crime Chinese dramas. I have already written this as a blog post a couple years ago now. I'm just going to be working off of that list first. Yeah, this was published in 2022. Because I reviewed the list and I was like, I still love these. None of these on this list wouldn't eventually be on my favorite crime dramas from China list eventually. So I figured why not start here since the list is already made. And then once I continue putting in these episodes and adding more to them, I'll do additional blog posts as well as like additional podcasts. So let me know in the comments if you want me to do another list of Chinese crime dramas, or you want to hear something from a different country in the next episode. And I don't really see an ending to this series, let alone an ending to like the countries, because as I said, they always have crime dramas coming out. I've been watching Korean dramas for almost 20 years at this point, which means I've been watching Korean crime dramas for almost 20 years. And then give or take, I don't know, 15, 10 years, depending on the other countries and when I started watching dramas from other countries. So I have a long list of crime dramas, no matter the country, that I can pull from to make a episode of my favorite crime dramas. And there's constantly more coming out and constantly ones I'm checking out. So this is just going to be a never-ending series. I'm eventually going to be bringing people in to talk with me about it, or I'm just going to be doing solo things. We love to talk about crime dramas here. If that is what you love to talk about as well, welcome to the podcast episode, or the podcast if you're new to the podcast, and let's just get right into it. This is a list of some of my all-time favorite crime Chinese dramas. They're in no particular order. I tried to like mix up the list with stories and actors and time periods, so some you'll find modern era, some are more historical. Obviously, as I just said, this list is never ending. A lot of these are like older dramas, especially because I wrote this 3 years ago at this point, but they're still some of my favorites. There's some probably people either haven't watched or haven't heard of, but you definitely have heard me talk about them, so they're probably not going to be new to you guys if you've been reading the blog or listening to the podcast or just listening to anything I've typed on social media or said anywhere at this point. All right, so we are starting with number one. It's probably my go-to crime drama because it is the first Chinese drama I've ever watched in my life. It was my introduction to Chinese dramas. It's probably not the best, I will say. It's not probably. It is not the best crime drama out there. I will say that right now, but for nostalgia reasons and for how much I loved it and how wacky it was when I first watched it, it will always be on my favorites list. But that's me being really, really biased. And that is the Chinese crime drama series, Memory Lost. This is a 12 to, I think other seasons had, did they all have 12? Yeah, this is a 3-season, 12 episodes per season crime drama, and it stars Yang Rong and Bai Yu. This is where I got my introduction to both of these actors. They are my top favorite actors. I love both of them. They've been acting for a long time. Some other people who've starred in this series is Evan Lee, who I have not seen in a drama in quite a while. He hasn't done dramas for years at this point. I think he stopped acting. We have Hei Fei Tian, who plays, I think, one of the support casts, like one of the other cops. We have Nan Fu Long. We have Alan Ren, who again is one of my favorites. We have Hai Ling, who was in Love and Destiny recently. We have a lot of like guest people and supporting roles in this because it's a case procedural crime drama. So it's like one of those where it's every 2 or 3 episodes, you have a case and they solve it, and then the main characters move on, and you have a whole group of casts come in, and it's the next case. You have Zhang Zehan, who we all know from Word of Honor, is in this. Chen Meng Kin, just a ton of supporting and guest roles overall. Now, this drama is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. As I said, it's wacky. It does not make sense sometimes. It's kind of campy. Basically, this is about Yang Rong's character and Bayu's character. Bayu is a cop who his fiance went missing, and he seems to be like the only one who remembers her because no one else around him thinks he ever had a fiance, which was crazy. He eventually comes across another cop played by Yang Rong. They end up partnering up and solving cases. And then eventually, through the machinations of the story, they discover that they both have memory loss and they both are trying to solve the same case. And you kind of know where this is going. There's like a serial killer involved and all this stuff. And it's, for some reason, I never really understood why this was split into 3 seasons, but it was because they pretty much aired like back to back, except for maybe like a week apart. 2, maybe, I don't know. Never really made sense why the seasons were like airing separately. Anyway, why is this my favorite or one of my favorites? As I said, it was my introduction to Chinese dramas, introduced me to Yang Rong and Bai Yu, who I love. Their chemistry was off the charts to me in this. I loved watching their relationship because they, of course, hated each other at the beginning. Yang Rong is like a strong-ass female lead. Bai Yu is more of like a jokester in this, but he's also fun to watch. But it is a little wacky. It's a little wacky. Some of the cases are out there. You have some eccentric characters. It is kind of over the top when it comes to acting. It was made in 2016, 2015. If you remember C-dramas from that era, especially modern ones, that's where you're going. It still is fun. Honestly, it really is. And there's some crazy characters and crazy cases. It's not going to be for everybody, though, because it is crazy. It's wacky. It's a little off the wall. If you've watched Guardian, I would say that would be like that level of wacky. So if you can handle Guardian, which for me, I loved Guardian, but it was a little wacky, you know? You had some of those cases that were a little campy. Same thing here, I would say. Maybe a little more. So I would say if you liked Guardian and you could kind of stand that wackiness, you would probably like this. I will say it's probably a little more campy and wacky than Guardian. I loved both of the series. But that is the first one I talked about, memory loss. It will always be one of the first things I mention when it comes to crime Chinese dramas because it was my first and I love them. And I really need to watch more of their drama, like Yang Rong and Bayu's dramas, because there's a ton of them I haven't seen, mainly because I don't want to run out of dramas they've been in. Okay, next one. I'm sure you've heard me talk about this one because Liliana has talked about this one because of me, and that is A Murderous Affair in Horizon Tower. This one was really unexpected. It came out in 2020, and I don't honestly remember how I found it or even like why I checked it out. I probably saw a YouTube thing or maybe a review or something. Murderous Affair in a Horizon Tower is about a coffee shop owner who's found dead in her condominium, and her death like obviously causes investigations, and the police come in and start investigating. And what is so great about this, it's how the story is told. So you don't find out information about the crime until the police do. It's told from the perspective of the police. You are finding out the information and the case as the police do. If they're interviewing a suspect, you will find out that information from that specific suspect. And you might think at the end of the episode, oh, that guy is definitely the killer. He's definitely the murderer. He seems suspicious. And then the next episode, it switches perspective to another suspect they might be investigating. And that kind of throws all of what you already know off because you learn new information. That was an interesting way to play out a crime drama because you never really knew what that twist was going to be, and you never knew where it was going. This stars actresses like Angela Baby, Yang Zishan, Baby Zhang, actors like Rexon Chen, Lu Yulai, Gao Tao. You would recognize a lot of these actors in this cast if you have been watching Chinese dramas for any length of time. I mean, obviously Angela Baby is really, really famous, but a lot of the other supporting ensemble cast, this is a large ensemble cast. What I love about this drama, though, too, is it's not just like a crime drama. You have a female-centered drama hidden within a crime drama. It might be centered around one death and one female character who has died, but through investigating this crime case, you figure out all these secrets and all these motives within this one apartment building, and it turns into a female-centric drama under a crime drama. Kept me guessing till the end. I was really on the edge of my seat while watching this. I'm so glad I waited and didn't have to watch while it aired because it would have killed me. I love the messaging at the end of this. As I said, the ensemble cast is fantastic. There's a lot of heavy hitters in this cast. And I love that I didn't know what to expect from this drama because, again, I don't remember why I clicked play, and I don't think I knew much about it when I clicked play. It was just a very interesting and unique sounding drama, so I clicked play, and that resulted in a really unique watch for me. And if you're curious, this is actually the first drama review I ever wrote for the blog in 2020, which shows you how much I loved it because I wanted to write a review and then tell everybody about it. All right, the next one I'm going to mention, I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about it because we did a drama trio episode on this, I think with Becky on Liliana's podcast, and that is Reset. I'm also sure you guys have probably watched Reset, let alone heard me talk about it. But if you guys don't know what Reset is, it is a crime drama starring Bai Jingting and Zhao Jingmai. You also have Lu Yujun, Lu Tao, Huang Zhu, Lu Dan. I apologize if I'm butchering any of these names, along with some of the other really famous Chinese actors in the supporting cast. This is about a woman, Zhao Jinmai's character, who gets trapped in a never-ending time loop where she is stuck on a bus, which eventually explodes at some point. And she keeps going in this time loop and repeating it over and over again. Eventually, Bai Jingting's character gets trapped in this as well, and then they have to figure out why it's happening, how to stop it maybe, can they bring other people in, what is the reason why this is happening, what's the mystery behind it. Let me tell you, this is probably one of the most fast-paced, anxiety-inducing crime dramas I've ever watched from China. I'm so glad I binged this when I first watched it because again, I think it's another drama that I would not have been able to handle if I was watching as it was airing because the cliffhangers are beautifully done. And I remember I was months late to this. I think it aired and then I waited a good 8 months until I watched it. And I regretted doing that because I was like, why didn't I watch this when it just finished airing or was airing? It was a thrilling ride from start to finish. It's one of those that it doesn't let you go from beginning to end. The acting was really good. The story was well paced. You could not guess what was going to happen next. And I loved how the characters progressed through the story because they're in a time loop, they might try something and then that might not work, or they might not learn anything new or something. And then they have to go back into the time loop at the beginning beginning and try another strategy. I loved watching how the cogs in their own brain tried to figure this out and tried to think of strategies to get to where they wanted to be at the end of the drama. And also with this time loop and everything, it was very unpredictable, really unpredictable. Because again, it's one of those dramas that were built where you only learn what they learn. You don't know much beyond that. It made it really hard to guess anything. Why, who, what, where, whatever, which was fun. It was a lot of fun. OSTs were memorable for this one. Again, I don't want to reveal anything about it, so please check out the Drama Trio's review of this or watch it yourself and then go check it out because you won't regret it. Next on the list is also another classic that I definitely have blogged about at least twice, if not talked about multiple times. This wasn't my introduction to Alan Wren, because obviously I just said Memory Lost was my introduction to him, but this was, I think, my first drama I watched him as a lead, I want to say. But this one, again, I'm kind of probably really, really biased with this one, because this one, people either love this drama or don't like this drama, and that is Under the Power. It stars Alan Wren and Tan Sung-yoon, also stars Hang Dong, Ye Chin, Lu Han, and Ethan Yao, among others. I remember absolutely hating the second male lead in this. I find him so annoying. That was one thing I did not like. This is a historical mystery drama, which I loved. I mean, I still love watching historical mystery dramas, but this is one of those where there's a palace guard. I can't remember the name of the group, but it's a constant theme in Chinese crime dramas where there's a specific guard that you have multiple male characters be a part of throughout Chinese dramas. I'd have to look that up later of what that is. But yes, Under the Power is one of my favorite Chinese dramas of all time, let alone one of my favorite crime dramas of all time. Again, I'm probably really biased for this because Alan Wren is one of my favorites, as well as Tan Sung-yoon. I went into this thinking it was going to be a straight up crime drama. And I will say, it's not a perfect drama. Some of the crime stuff doesn't make sense, and some of the characters are really toxic. But what surprised me about this was I went into it not really thinking there was going to be romance or any type of couple interaction, and there was. And I was surprised by it, and I loved Alan Wren and Tan Sung-yoon's relationship in this, and I loved how they progressed through it and their chemistry and how invested I got into their relationship. It is a little wacky, again. It's not a perfect drama, but I have always said I started this for the crime, but I stayed for the main couple because, again, the crime stuff does not make sense eventually. The synopsis for this is Alan Wren's character is Liu Yi. He is a high-ranking officer of the Ming Dynasty's, brocaded guard. That's the word I was trying to look for. Brocaded guard, which was part of the emperor's elite bodyguard or secret police, and he was one of them. He meets Tang Sung-yoon's character, who is a police officer in the city. So he is the emperor bodyguard. She is a police officer. And they meet because of a particular case that they're both involved in. And they continue to cross paths over different cases. And then he is eventually tasked with investigating, I think it was disappearance of money, funds of some sort. And so he teams up with her to solve that case in particular. And that's where the story goes. All along, obviously, starting this romantic relationship. That aired in 2019 to 2020. I think I watched it in 2020, actually. Let me see. Yep, I watched it in 2020. We watched a lot of stuff in 2020. It makes sense. Makes sense why I would like this one. Along with Alan Wren starring in it, but that's just a given. Next up, which I think I also watched in 2020 because it came out in 2020, and this one again came out of nowhere. It surprised me. I wasn't planning on watching it, and then I just got really, really curious about it and didn't see anybody else talking about it. And I'm really glad I did because it's now one of my favorite crime Chinese dramas. That is Ancient Detective. It aired in 2020. And this is about a amnesiac detective who is traveling around. He's really good at solving cases, and he's really good at figuring out clues and deducing stuff, but he has no idea who he is, right? He's also sickly, which is a trope that I'm always love in a Chinese drama, the sickly male lead. And eventually he wants to investigate his father's killer, but at the beginning he doesn't know most of those details until he starts remembering them. And since he's traveling alone, he eventually meets up with people and they start traveling with him, and it ends up being a group of 4 including him, I think, and they all help solve cases together. And the leads are played by Tim Yu, who is the detective. We have Wang Yang, who is this warrior soldier guy. He's comes as bodyguard because the detective can't fight at all. He kind of just runs away. He's known for his brains, not his brawn. Then we have Rachel Wang, who is a mysterious assassin person. And then we have Miranda Ma, which I think is a doctor, if I remember correctly. I haven't watched this in a while. And then we have guests, a bunch of different guest roles played by Du Yafei. There's also a pretty famous, what's her name? I don't remember her name now. If I don't find it, that's okay. I'll figure it out later. Huang Ri Ying is in this as well as Wang Xing Wai. You might recognize all of these people. But yeah, it's basically a detective and his little band of misfits running around solving cases. And it's weird, somewhat maybe supernatural cases. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's one of those where you kind of just don't have to think too hard. Crime dramas. But again, I think I like this one because it came out of nowhere. I heard about it and I clicked play because it looked interesting to me. I had never watched anybody in the cast before, and it kind of just flew under the radar because I didn't really see a lot of people talking about it at the time I was watching it. Now a lot of people have watched it. If you have not watched this drama, I would recommend. I think it's on Viki, but it is a Yoku drama. It probably is on Yoku at this point. It's a much lower budget drama. It's not one of those really, really high budget dramas. You can tell that's a low budget drama, but it has some really beautiful shots, even though some of the time you can tell it's a lower budget. It was just really unexpected and fun. It had some interesting cases. The cast had some comedy and some great chemistry with it. Of course, you had the crime tropes in it, but the tropes work in this drama. For it being a lower budget crime drama, it had some beautiful shots and some great cinematography. I still remember there's some shots that are through doorways and windows that are really nicely set up, which I will always remember those because I was really surprised how well shot this was. That's Ancient Detective. I think I have 4 or 5 more on this list. Next one is another drama from 2020. It is called Miss Gu Who Is Silent. Okay, you guys will probably watch this and be like, why does Caitlin like this? I like this for one reason and one reason only. Not a lot of people have watched this. I don't think a lot of people will check it out. It's kind of, again, one of those crime dramas that if it doesn't star anybody who's really, really famous, there's not a lot of traffic in it, but it's decently good. It's on this its list because it's great. The budget is low budget, but the drama is sort of addicting. It's unexpected in that way, right? This is a drama starring Leah. I think that's her name. Leah. Her English name, according to MDL, is Aaliyah. She's the female lead. Then there's Li Zifeng. There's Joan Kai, Yi Zhao Wei, Gao Jianan, and Lu Shi. I butchered all of those. I apologize. But you have Aaliyah and Li Zifeng as the leads, as the 2 leads. And basically the female lead, her brother dies, and she decides to change her entire identity and name and everything and try to avenge her brother by going after the people who she suspects caused his death or killed him. There's multiple people she's going after. However, through this investigation, she realizes her brother's death was the tip of the iceberg. So much more needs to be uncovered, a much bigger thing that she's dealing with than just the person who she suspects has killed her brother. And then Li Zifeng is the cop that kind of is going after her because he's really suspicious of her. Now, the thing that really threw me for a loop on this one is one, I did not think I would like it as much as I did, and I had a lot of fun watching it. That was really unexpected. But the thing that is making me recommend this is the chemistry between the two leads. The main couple, their chemistry is out of this world. I've seen other dramas like this since I've watched this, but I remember distinctly watching this and I'm like, oh my God, where did this come from? Their chemistry is so good. So good. And then you have a romance with them and it's amazing. The OSTs really stood out for this too. It's kind of sort of addicting. Like I binged the hell out of this drama. I binged it so hard and stayed up way too late watching this, which is why it's on this list. So that was Miss Goo Who Is Silent. Another classic, which I know a lot of people have watched and have heard me talk about it. I still have to watch season 2, but the next on this list is Under the Skin. The first season was made in 2022, and they, of course, did a season 2, which I have not watched yet. I remember I was also late to this one. Listen, with Chinese dramas, I usually don't watch them as they air. When I'm late, either I'm just starting it when it ends or I'm months late or even years. There's multiple crime dramas I haven't watched yet. Part of the reason is I don't want to run out of dramas, but that's silly at this point. Like, God, I haven't even watched Imperial Coroner yet, and season 2 is coming out this year. And I'm like, what are you waiting for, Caitlin? Let alone season 2 of Under the Skin. But I did watch this the same year it came out. Usually I don't. Usually I wait very long time to do that. Under the Skin has kind of become a classic at this point, came out in 2022. It's great. I love the chemistry of the two leads. If you don't know what Under the Skin is, it stars Tan Jian. Again, I always pronounce these names wrong. Tan Jiang Shi, and Jin Shi Ji. I love both of these actors before this was even a thing, like especially Jin Shi Ji. Sorry, I'm really butchering these names. He's been acting for a really long time, and he was in The Murderous Affair of Horizon Tower, which is one of the dramas that first introduced me to him, but he was also in another drama I'm going to be talking about later, as well as some of the other crime dramas. He has a really interesting, non-linear background when it comes to acting. Like he became famous in one of the biggest Chinese drama franchises ever, and like his look wouldn't put him in that franchise because it was a romantic franchise, and he really doesn't have that typical romantic lead look. And it's a fantastic franchise. I probably should rewatch it. I haven't rewatched it in a while. It lasted for 5 years. Anyway, off track. Anyway, I like him a lot. Obviously, we know Tan Jian Shi is really good too. You might recognize him obviously from Filter this year. But if you don't know what Under the Skin is, this is about a painter 5 years ago from prior to when the first season started. We had Tan Jian Shi's character sketched a kid like on a street. He would like sketch people on the wall, and that caused the death of a police officer because he didn't actually know who he had interacted with it, and commissioned him to draw this kid. And when the drama starts at 5 years after this, he joins the police as a portraitist. So people would come in and describe like suspects and he would draw them and things like that. He ends up working with the detective who was a close friend with the detective that died 5 years prior. They don't like each other, especially the cop to the artist, do not like each other when it starts. And eventually they have to work through that animosity and become a duo and solve these unconventional cases with unconventional methods. I think what was really interesting about this to me when it aired is I love the incorporation of art into the cases, as well as what Tan Jian Shi's character was doing, because I had never really encountered that setup in a crime drama before. It made it unique, it made it unpredictable, all the things I liked in a crime drama. Because I had been watching crime dramas for so long, and I do have a background in it, I find it really hard to find crime dramas that I'm invested in because I know most of the tropes. So when I find something that's an interesting or unique setup, or I find something that turns the typical crime drama tropes on its head, that's when I become interested in it. And Under the Skin was that case. They had a very unique setup of a police officer and an artist, which I had never seen before. Even though we all know sketch artists exist in the police force, that's nothing new. To have it in drama form, that was something unique. Is it a perfect drama? Absolutely not. Is there ever a perfect drama? In my opinion, no, unless you're nostalgic or biased, which I have scored dramas 10 out of 10 before, but that was really not a analytical rating. There were some issues with Under the Skin season 1 at least, but I was still very entertained, and that's what counts. Definitely a fan of both of these lead actors, as I said, and I do have a review of this, I think, on my blog somewhere. But that was Under the Skin. I still need to watch season 2 of that. We have 3 more on this list. Next one I'm going to talk about is Tiansen Mystic, season 1. Only watch season 1 of this. If you watch Tiansen Mystic, only watch season 1. Season 2, you can skip. You can skip. Season 1 is so much better than season 2, by far. I remember I was so sad after season 2 of it because it just did not live up to season 1 at all. At all. And it was heartbreaking. They're actually rebooting this, which I was surprised when they first announced this. I love all 3 of the actors in the reboot, so I'm really looking forward to the reboot. I just hope I don't compare it to season 1 because season 1 was fantastic, and I'm really curious how they're going to reboot this. I hope it's not like a straight up reboot, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. So season 1 of the original stars Li Xing and Zhang Ming'en. Li Xing plays like I don't know how you would describe him. He's sort of a police officer, but he also has grown up under a temple. So he serves this river god at the same time, in a way. I guess that's the easiest way to describe him. So it's a supernatural, historical, Republican era Chinese drama. Basically, it's about a small town on a river. Li Xing's character, he is this disciple of this god, this river god, and he has this ability to, through smoking this pipe that he carries, to kind of look into these cases, and sometimes he weeds out guilt, he can see the guilty parties, sometimes he finds clues. It depends on what he's looking for in that. And then eventually, on one of the cases very early on, he himself becomes a suspect of a murder case. And the son of the victim, which is a chairman of the town, he ends up teaming up with the son to uncover the truth about this case of the chairman's murder, I guess, or death. And then they eventually move on to solving other cases and finding out this whole conspiracy and case that had been hanging over the town for 20-something years. And along the way, they're joined by Cece Wong, who plays, if I remember correctly, a reporter, I think. No. She's another. No, it was the other character was the reporter. Charlene Chen is the reporter, and then Cece Wong is another disciple in a temple. So you have 2 disciples of temples, and then you have a chairman's son, and then you have a reporter, and they all team up to investigate this Republican era crimes. I love this. You got strong bromance. You got some nice romance too. They both have girlfriends, which obviously some people might not like. It was unexpectedly good, in my opinion. Especially how they shot his smoke power was really, really cool. Really cool. The leads have great chemistry. I love both of the female leads because, sometimes you want a bromance and then you hate that the female characters come in. For me, they didn't ruin anything. They basically added to it because they had their own personality, their own talents. They contributed to the investigation. They made a great team overall. I will say this drama is kind of creepy and spooky because it is supernatural. So if that's not your thing, just FYI. Again, the OSTs for me really stood out. It's weird. It's a weird mix of genres. You got crime, you got a little bit of comedy, you got action, you got supernatural, but it's fun. And it was unexpected for me. And I love when this type of drama comes out. Because I mean, if you are a fan of the Lost Tomb series or Candle in the Tomb series, check this out. You'll love it. Not season 2. Don't watch season 2. Because they even changed the actors in season 2. Li Xing was in season 1, and then Jin Shi Jia took over. He was in season 2, and then everybody else was in this drama. You still had Zhang Mingyan, you had Cici Wang, you had Charlene Chen. You still had everybody else except for him. I don't remember why they switched him out. I'm not really sure. I think it was a scheduling issue. He just didn't have the space in his schedule to do it. And it wasn't really even the acting that was bad, it was the writing. And I couldn't help but compare Li Xing's character, like his portrayal of the main character, to Jin Shi Jia's. I think if like they were completely different dramas and there was no way to compare them, I would have been able to like at least the acting part of it better, which I don't think the acting was bad, but the story just wasn't the best compared to season 1, and I don't think that helped it very much. I would not recommend season 2. But Tiansen Mystic season 1, definitely check out. All right, another one that I would recommend that I, again, don't see a lot of people watching or mentioning. And again, this is a older drama. It's a 2021 drama, and that is Stealth Walker. It stars Ling Peng and Zhang Ye Chen, all as well as Li Zifang, which I've mentioned from Miss Gu Who Is Silent. And this is a cop going undercover drama. Now, if you're a fan of this type of drama, you'll love this. This is a fast-paced crime drama. It grabs you at the beginning, doesn't let go at the end. It's a roller coaster. Again, there is one main reason why I recommend this drama, and that is the chemistry of the leads. This drama is about a Lin Pen's character. She is a new cop graduated from the police academy, right? Her parents, when she was younger, were killed by a drug lord, and she becomes a cop because of it. When she graduates, she's new. Not a lot of people know her. None of the drug lords know her. The police force arrange her to go undercover and start a mission to collect evidence on certain drug dealers in the area. And then she meets Zhang Yi Cheng's character, who is this mysterious adopted son of the big current drug lord in the city. And she pretends to become his girlfriend and want to date him to gain information, evidence, whatever she's looking for to take down this drug lord. And he, on the other hand, because he's adopted, is trying to figure out who he is and maybe figure out something about this drug lord as well. They eventually team up. Their chemistry is so good. So good. It was sizzling off the screen. It was crazy. It was so good. Because it's not only chemistry, but they're also actively flirting with each other the entire time. They could look at each other and it's flirting. Like, it was insane how good their chemistry was in this drama. And I swear to God, I remember when I finished this, I was like, there's just not enough scenes of them together. There's not enough because their chemistry is so good. Along with that, though, it is a decent crime drama. You get surprised, there's twists, there's turns, a really, really decent crime drama, but you watch it for the chemistry. The chemistry by far is great. Also, the OSTs are amazing. I have a much longer review of this on the blog. I think I wrote it in 2021 or something. And last but certainly not least on this first list is Maiden Homes. Again, one that you have probably watched and probably heard of. If not, please check it out. This is kind of like a cult classic at this point. If you like crime dramas, you probably have watched this because it's on the lighter side in a way, especially compared with some of the other ones I have on this list. And it's a historical crime drama. I'm a sucker for historical crime dramas though, so there's a reason why. I should probably just make a list of historical Chinese crime dramas because I have a ton. Anyway, this aired in 2020. I want to say this was Zhang Linghe's debut. Let me look at that really quick. Yeah, it's his debut drama, Zhang Linghe, and that's insane to me. This stars Zhang Linghe, it stars Sabrina Chen, it also stars Zhang Jiding, Wang Yizhe, Huan Yi, Zhu Mingxin. Mainly, the four main people are Sabrina Chen, Zhang Linghe, Zhang Jingding, and Wang Yizhe. So, 2 males. two females. Zhongling He, he plays a prince who is sent away to handle some invaders. And when he comes back, someone has taken over, like, influence in the imperial court and forces him to step down as the head of the army. He has to go into sort of hiding where he's just going undercover to like investigate what happened and pretending to be not a prince. Something else, but not a prince, in order to investigate this and be able to move around undetected and not have to worry about assassins or anything like that. And on this investigation that he is doing, he encounters Sabrina Chen's character, who is a detective in the city. So they form a bond, they start working together, they end up also teaming up with Zhang Jingding's character and Wang Yizhe character. And they start investigating these scheming plots that are going around the Imperial Palace. This was just fun. It's lighter. There's definitely some cases too. They have the main couple and the second couple have great chemistry. It doesn't really have like a bunch of angst in it. It's really an easy watch, which is why I recommend this one. Another crime drama where the crimes are good, but you also root for the couples a lot. That kind of kept you going. But that was Made in Homes. And that's my list. That was my list that was on the blog. That's some of my favorite Chinese crime dramas. If you like this sort of episode list, want to hear a different country, want to hear more Chinese crime dramas, let me know. Write in the comments. Let me know what some of your favorite crime dramas from China have been. I'm definitely watching some currently that I probably will love. Definitely have some that I still need to check out. A lot to check out, actually. Let me know some of your favorite crime Chinese dramas in the comments. Let me know if you want more of this list. And thank you for listening this week. Bye. If you want to continue the conversations about dramas that were started in this episode, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky under the username No Sleep for Dramas. That is No Sleep, the number 4 dramas, just like in the title of the podcast. This podcast is also an expansion of my blog, so you can visit my blog at www.nosleepfordramas.com, the number 4 dramas.com, and find multiple years of blog posts already available at your fingertips. All links are in the description of this episode. Finally, please give this podcast a like or a follow wherever you listen to the podcast. Leaving a comment or a review also helps a lot. We love hearing ideas and feedback from all of you. Share the podcast with your friends as well. Thank you for listening. This has been an episode of the No Sleep for Dramas podcast, and I am your host, Caitlin. I will see you here next time, and I hope you get no sleep chasing the next episode just like me. Good night.